That's what I want. Hey guys, welcome back to Good Enough Customs. So last week we ripped the suspension out from underneath the truck and did a couple other little things on there, some of which I forgot to film. This week is a continuation of that, so we're going to go ahead and get the new axles and the lift and the wheels and tires on the truck, and I hope you guys enjoy. So I'll catch back up with you here at the end of it. All I'm doing to clean these guys is I got an old gas jug full of just nasty old diesel fuel that I've used for other parts before. So basically poured it in this little oil pan, threw everything in there, filled it up, let it all sit and soak. That'll help to get that grime and grease and rust and everything kind of breaking loose. And then what I'll end up doing is strapping on some gloves and then getting in there and then just taking a little wire brush and then just kind of cleaning each and every part up as best I can. And then I'll set them out, drain out this pan, set everything back in there, or after I wash the pan out, I'll set everything back in, hit it with some brake clean. That'll knock all that residue and crap off of it, and then I can hit it with a fresh coat of paint. We'll be good to go. All right, folks, so here we got the leaf spring bushing that we got to put in. So on these springs for the K5, probably a lot of the square bodies, I honestly can't remember, but I do want to say that all the square bodies are the same when it comes to springs. So you've got two different size bushings. I've already actually punched in the rear ones. So you got two different size bushings. So you got the bigger ones that go up on the front, and the smaller ones go on the back. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to lube these guys up. So you're going to want to hit these guys. I'm just using some white lithium grease that I had here in the shop. Some people will use, what is it? Axle grease, bearing grease. And sometimes I actually send these to you with a little pack that you can use to put the with just enough grease to cover everything. So we'll flip this guy over. Good grief. And then hit this side and get down inside it too, so that way when you go to put the sleeve in, everything's ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the sleeve too, just to be on the safe side. We don't want any squeaks. Plus it helps everything kind of go in a little smoother. All right. So there we go. We got the bushings are in. They're ready to go. And as soon as the U-bolt top plate finishes drying, I've taken those guys and dipped them in some diesel and use the wire brush, clean them up real good, shoot them with a little bit of brake clean, and that brake clean just kind of gets all that, you know, oil residue and everything off of it from the diesel. And hit it with the brake clean. Then I hit it with some sandpaper. Usually I use 120. This time I just grabbed the first piece I found, and I think it was 80 grit. So it's a little too aggressive for this, but it should be no big deal. It's just driveline and suspension parts, so I'm not too terribly worried about it. But I've already shot them. It's a chilly day, so this stuff's taking forever to dry. So just waiting on that stuff to dry, and as soon as it dries, then I can get these front springs up, and then I can get the rear axle hung back over there. So that's kind of where we're at right now, and I'll catch back up here just a little bit. All right, folks. So I got the 4-inch blocks on here. Ugh. So I got the 4-inch blocks on. And the way these mount up is you have this little stud that pokes out on the bottom that seats it in the saddle on the leaf spring. Then you got a hole up top. Oh, get it in the camera. You got a hole on top where the other end of this bolt sticks through, and that helps to center the leaf spring. So the way these mount up is the tapered end goes to the front. That way it kicks that nose of the pinion up. So that way, when you go to set the rear end in, that corrects that pinion angle and helps to get that thing pointed up in the right direction so you don't have a bunch of vibration. So I'm going to get to it, and I'll check back in with you as soon as I get this all bolted up. right, guys, so as you can tell, it's not rocket surgery. Putting these suspension lifts on these solid axle trucks, especially whenever it's leaf springs on all four corners, it's pretty easy. The only thing is you know, taking the extra time to come back, like these spring plates up top. I you know, scrubbed them down real good, gave them a quick scuff, and shot them with some paint, and then having to wait for them to dry. Of course, it's, you know, cold out, so it took a while. But it's pretty easy to set these up. So I did run into a couple of issues, and I don't know if it's the kit's fault or if it's something the previous owner did. I don't know. Is back here on the rear spring hangers, the bolts that we pulled out there are, I believe, 9/16 bolts. I'm pretty sure they're 9/16. The bolts that came with the lift kit, the sleeves for the rear, the steel sleeves, they are much smaller than 9/16. So, but the problem is the holes on the hanger are set up for the 9/16. So you don't want a whole lot of slop there, or it's just going to waller that guy out. So what I did, just as a temporary fix, just so I can get this thing on the ground, I can come back and fix it at another time, is I just knocked the steel sleeve out. You don't want to run these bushings without a sleeve in it, because it's just going to chew the inside of that bushing up. This truck ain't going to get driven for quite some time, so I'm not too terribly worried about it at the moment. I will go back and fix that. I'll probably end up having to get a different sleeve for it, something that's a little thinner walled maybe, that's the right length and the right diameter to fit that 9/16. Worst case, go to a 1/2-inch bolt. So one of the other things that you got to worry about whenever, especially when you buy one of the cheaper kits, you know, not that we're buying, you know, bargain basement garbage here. I've had zone stuff in the past and I've liked it. I've not really had any problems out of it, but you do have to kind of deal with a few manufacturing flaws. So like right now I'm trying to get it to where it'll focus. I don't know if it shows up, but that second thread down, maybe we can focus in, but that second thread down is too thick. It's too thick of a thread. I can't get the nut to thread on. So what I'm going to do is basically, I'm going to give it a quick zip. So all I'm going to do is just go through and bevel those first two threads. Just bevel that edge all the way around. That way the nut will sit down on it, and then it'll grab that next thread and it'll start going on. So I'm going to do that real quick, and we'll get back to getting this thing strapped on. All right, folks, so what I ended up doing was beveling that edge down. It did have a boogered up thread. Like I said, that second one down, which is now non-existent, that thread was a little bit thicker than the rest of them, so it wasn't going to hit. The other issue that I discovered while I was over there and I was trying to get this thing threaded on is this nut isn't even the right freaking size. It's a totally different nut from all the other ones in the kit. So they sent the wrong size. It's not even the right size diameter inside the nut. I think this is a 9/16 when this is a 5/8. So yeah, luckily I've got a good nut from the other lift that was on here. So, and it fits right on there just fine. So I even went and chased the threads just to make sure everything was in good shape. So anyways, just be mindful of that whenever you're putting together one of these kits. Sometimes, you know, it's the cheapest parts and the lowest common denominator that they throw this stuff in there. So yeah, so I had one nut out of 16. Yeah, so I had 15 good ones and one that was the wrong size. So anyways, moving on. Holy crap. I forgot how good these damn trucks looked when they're lifted. This thing is sexy as hell. Would you look at that? Oh, holy crap. So there are a couple things that need to be addressed. You know, I ordered these wheels and tires, or I ordered the wheels, and they're 17, I think, by 9s. Apparently the back spacing is a little off, because over here on the driver's side, when I had it up in the air, I tried spinning it, it spun just a smidge and gets stuck on the tie rod end. So, I know a lot of people are down on wheel spacers, but I've used them for years, never had a problem with it. So I may get like a 1/2 inch spacer for the front. That'll clear that, and then get like a full inch spacer for the back. Because by default, K5s always have that rear wheel, that rear axle's a little bit narrower. And I'll do some good measuring on it so we can see. But you can kind of see, you know, that the front sticks out a little bit further than the back. It's kind of hard to pick up on camera, but trust me, it does. It does probably by about an inch, inch and a half on both sides. So if we got to run a little bit wider spacer in the back, not necessarily to even out the track, I'd like to, because it looks better. It looks kind of goofy with the tires sucked in the back and sitting out a little bit in the front. So what we'll probably end up doing is, like I said, probably getting like a 1/2 inch spacer for the front and probably an inch. I don't usually like going more than an inch. It kind of makes me a little nervous going more than an inch. But I might go to 1.5 inches on the back. Just go ahead and give me that extra inch out. Try to even these up a little bit. So, but anyways, I tell you though, this thing looks awesome. So, unfortunately, Jackson has not been here today. He had a day or something like that with his girlfriend. So it's just up to dear old dad to get this thing done. And man, I have humped it today to get this thing done. That way I can get everything done today. It's a Saturday. And that gives me tonight's, probably not so much, but definitely tomorrow to get the editing done and get it all uploaded and ready to go for Monday. So I still got a good bit of work ahead of me, but this is a fantastic stopping point right here. I am tickled. I forgot how good these trucks look whenever they've got a lift on them. I mean, it's just oozing sexuality. It is amazing. The issue with this truck right now is it's kind of like the midday dancers at the local strip club. Looks pretty good from a distance, but the closer you get, the rougher it looks. And then, you know, they're empty inside. So we're going to get this all sorted out here before long. So, you know, I think this next week, I'm going to get back on these floors. I got that one floor support straightened out for the most part. It's pretty close now. I was able to lay the front floor pan in there, and it leveled out pretty good. So we can start slapping this thing together. God, it feels weird with this thing. I mean, it's right here. I used to have to like lean down on it. So this is I'm digging the shit out of this thing. Pardon my language, but I'm loving this. I'm gonna have to buy me a 4-wheel drive again. I used to only have 4-wheel drives, and I got into 2-wheel drives, and I like slamming them. And I miss having a big 4-wheel drive truck. It's just, God, they're awesome. So although I did make a deal with Jackson that if he was helping me, it was his truck. If I was doing the work by myself, it's my truck. Nah, I can't do that to him right now. It's that's terrible. But anyways, so I think next week I'm going to get in here and get to work on the floors. Try to get these pans in. Hopefully, again, try to get these pans done, because then we can move on and finally move on with something else. Probably going to be these nasty rust spots up here. I've got to get those handled. So I can get the top back on the truck, which actually brings me to another spot that we got to do is we got to get the top in here. It's in really bad shape. I've been hunting for a decent top. I haven't been able to find one. Jackson's top, the fiberglass is all, you know, the fibers are all sticking out of it. It needs all new seals. The windows are good. The top itself is in pretty good shape. It's got a couple holes that the previous owner, drilled some lights into, and used, caulk to seal it up, which did a terrible job. But so I'm hunting for another top. If I can find one, that'd be great. I'm not counting on it. They're kind of pricey right now, and in order to get one, I got to spend pretty much a day driving. And then you still have to spend the $400 on all the new rubbers and the new seals and all that crap, and it ain't worth it right now. So I mean, we've got the top. I can basically go through and gel coat the thing, just to seal it back up, and go ahead and put the new window trim or window gaskets in it, put the new seal on it, and all that stuff. So that way I can pull this thing outside, because I got some stuff I got to do. I got some stuff I got to do on Big John and Steve for upcoming car shows and trips that we're making. I got to get Big John ready to go for Battle in Bama, which is down in Mobile. And if you haven't been to that show and you live in the area, or even if you don't live in the area, you got to go. It's a badass show. I mean, it's really cool. It's down at the park with the USS Alabama. You can go in there and take a tour. You can tour the boat. You can tour, I think they have a little submarine there too. You can tour it. We went and toured the boat last year. Man, it's awesome. It's just full of history, and it's just killer. So I've got that stuff I got to do to Big John to get him ready for that trip, because I think it's like 400 miles, something like that. It was like 400 miles one way or something. I can't remember. It's down in Mobile. I live just south of Nashville, so I know it's like a 6 or 7, 8 hour drive, something like that. But I got a little work to do on Big John to get him good to go for that road trip. And I think we're going to try to hit the Hot Rod Power Tour, since it's basically in my backyard this year. So if we do the Hot Rod Power Tour, which is first stop in Memphis, then Nashville, then I think Hoover, Alabama, then Pensacola, and then Atlanta. Really cool stuff. I don't know if you're not familiar with the Hot Rod Power Tour. Look it up. It's pretty badass. There's I think last year they had like 3,000 cars, 3,200. It's a bunch, and they move it around the country every year. It's in a different spot. So if I take Steve on that trip, I'm going to want to flog on him, and there's some concern in the rear end on that one. I've been running some curves a little hard out here. That's a fun little truck, but the rear end's making some weird noises, and there's just a couple other little things I need to fix on the truck just to make it a little bit better for a long road trip. I think it's 1,000 miles, or right around 1,000 miles worth of road trip. But so I've got to get those in here. Battle in Bama is in May, and then the Power Tour is in June, if I remember correctly. So I need to get this thing basically dried in to where I can back it out into the driveway, put the top on it so it's nice and dry in here, and all this hard work on the floors is not going to just total waste. But so that'll probably be next after I get the floor in, is getting that done, and then we'll just shoot from the hip from that point. It may be this gets pushed to the side, I get my stuff in here and kind of work on my junk for a little bit, try to get it up to snuff and ready for some road trips. But so that's kind of future plans. So I do appreciate y'all guys. I can't tell you how much this is blowing my mind. Last week I was, just thrilled to hit 150, and I'm knocking on 200 now on subscribers, which is insane. So hey, keep it up. Keep telling folks about it, man. This is awesome. I would love to do this stuff full time. So we hit the right numbers, and I could. I would love it. That's basically my dream job. Just sitting and working on old junk all the time. It's fantastic. It's some of the most rewarding and aggravating work in the world, but I love it. So anyways, keep it up. I do appreciate it. Y'all guys are amazing. Oh man, I'm beat. This has been a long week, and I'm thrilled. There's a few things left to do on this truck. I still got to torque down all the U-bolts. They're not torqued. You got to get the weight of the truck on it and then torque it down. I believe the torque specs are like 120 to 145. I think is what it said. I'll go back and double check that. But so I got to put the shocks on. Brake lines are on the way. stuff like that. So they're still, you know, this thing is not by any means ready for the road, but you know, I gotta get the brake lines on, I gotta get the shocks on, I gotta get everything torqued down, I gotta get the steering stuff squared up, I gotta order tie rod ends, and there's all sorts of crap to do to get this thing, you know, ready for the road. But I did order brake parts today, brake lines. What else did I order? No, I also ordered the frame reinforcement kit for the front for that steering box. So as soon as all that stuff comes in, you know, if I get tired of doing floors again, I'll jump off and do some brakes, or put that steering box brace in. And but hopefully these floors will move a little bit faster now that stuff's pretty much lined up and square-ish. But anyways, y'all guys are awesome. Thank you very much for watching. Tune in next week. I'm sure we'll be doing something goofy. Floors. But anyways, y'all guys have a good one. And just remember, it ain't got to be perfect. Just good enough. Y'all guys have a good one. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to set that down right there.